3, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4, 1, go.
Hey, what's good, everyone? We're back for another Speedcast. Tonight, we've got a hot topic. We are talking about what you could buy instead of buying a Switch 2. And of course, to answer this question, I've got nothing but experts here on this panel. And I'm joined by Klef from Game Tech Talk, Jeeve from Silicon Fox, and Joe from GamingForInsight. Sorry, Joe, I can't read tonight.
Hey, fans and subscribers.
Hey, yeah.
How you guys doing?
Oh, you guys are just way too polite, waiting your turns this time. All right, so let's get the ball rolling, and we're going to talk some shop. So for the cost of a Switch 2, which in America is about $500 for a bundle, let's say maybe $550 to $600 after taxes if you buy 1 or maybe 2 games. And this is assuming you can actually get one on launch day, which is coming up real soon. What other options or alternatives do people have?
Well, there's quite a few. I mean,
several.
Let's be real. Yes.
All right. Yeah. Tell me about it, Klef. Tell us how you really feel.
Well, because logically speaking, one of the reasons to talk about the subject, if I just may, is because probably a lot of people won't be able to actually buy one, right? So wouldn't it make sense to just buy a Switch one if you don't have one? Because I feel like it's easy to just get in the whole bandwagon of, I want a Switch 2 because it's the hot new commodity. But if you never had a Switch one, or if you didn't have a Switch one for a couple of years, you can still build your library. You can still buy the games. And whenever you are able to get your hands on a Switch 2, then it would make a lot of sense because you already have a backlog that you can tap into and re-experience with improved graphics, improved frame rate, improved dockability, and all the features that, the Switch 2 will offer. And of course, Nintendo will charge you for those expansion packs, but who cares? Who cares? It's going to be better. It's going to be better. So
no, you're absolutely right about that, Klef. And I think you made a really great point about the Switch 1 and its value, actually. There are even some titles that Switch 2 users or Switch 2 buyers won't be able to experience, like on Switch 1, right? Like something that like I only recently got into and got interested into was Labo. Like they've stated that they're not carrying that over. So, if you want that experience, I mean, for whatever that's worth to you, only Switch 1 is the only one that can deliver that, right?
Yep.
What about you, Jeeve? What can people buy instead of a Switch 2?
Yes, I'm going to go free radical here. I suggest actually putting your money towards the ONEXSUGAR coming out from One-Netbook. Besides just having a baller chip from Qualcomm, they're talking the new G3 Gen 3. That's actually going to match the T239 in the Switch as far as like RT cores go, features like that. You also get that kind of tactile functionality with the controls flipping upside and the screen coming up too. Personally, I think that's probably the main reason to get it for. I just love that dual screen, and I love how it feels. Feels so nice and tactile to use. And to kind of to piggyback off of what Klef said, I'm actually surprised to it with Switch 1 because I think that actually be a losing proposition going forward. Bit of aging hardware, not that great of a gaming experience right now. I mean, that's a dicey one for me. Even though it's a bit cheaper, you're not going to have the greatest gaming experience going 2025 onwards with the Switch 1. So that's an interesting one for me that you would go with that over something newer.
Fair.
You can be honest also with us, Jeeve. You only like it, the ONEXSUGAR, because it transforms. That's the real reason.
Yes, that's the main reason.
Yeah. But what about so we don't know about pricing or actual release date for that product though, right? And it's for our audience who are not familiar with that. That's an Android-based system, correct?
Yep.
Yes, it is Android. Yeah.
Right. And so I'd like to circle back to you because I want to give you an opportunity to choose a device that maybe is available when this video goes live, because unfortunately the ONEXSUGAR, as cool as it looks, is not available just yet. But we're always endorsing purchasing of all handhelds, so buy that when that comes out too. But
including
Joe,
the trim UI brick.
Get out of here with this, Joe. All right, so Joe, what's your pick instead of the Switch 2? People can't.
I'm aligned to Game Tech Talk. I really like how we talked about the Switch because Switch gaming is not dead, whether you're gaming on the Switch or you are doing emulation with Switch. There are classic games that are still releasing for Switch that are not for Switch 2. Shinobi, for example, is coming out for Switch and other platforms, but you can buy that for the Switch and you can play. It's available for pre-order on limited run games. But these classics like that. So Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity is another one that's a classic that you can play on the Switch. And also, as far as performance, we as gamers, many of us, we want more than 60 frames. We want to push close to 120 frames. But these retro classics and even Switch games, I mean, the 30 frames is great for playing some of our favorite games. We don't need any more than that. But there's still opportunity, I think, if we want to enjoy more than 30 frames on these older retro games, where we have now these SoCs that are very capable of running AI, and the relationship between AI and gaming and what AI can do, not only for AAA games or quadruple A games, but what it can do for retro gaming in that wheelhouse. So with Switch emulation, for example, we can throw an upscaler on it if we want to, and we can have more than what we would on a modern retro handheld. So there's still options to think about and explore, and it's a great opportunity to be able to enjoy a new modern handheld with the games that we've played. Like I mentioned, Link's Awakening, and then there's a free patch that's going to be available for Link's Awakening to play that with the Nintendo Switch 2 technology. But those games are classic. And I'm not just talking about Switch games, but I'm talking about Game Boy Color games, Game Boy games. I mean, back to the DMG dot matrix display. I mean, these are games that are just classic, that just play, and we don't need 120 frames for. So there are definitely options besides the Switch 2. Newer is not always the more exciting and doesn't supersede or take place the nostalgia of the games we grew up with.
Hey, now wait a minute, Joe. I'm gonna stop you now, because that is not what we rehearsed. You had actually said you were endorsing this product, which I am gonna actually shill right now as this impromptu segue to our sponsor for this video, Dbrand. Thank you for sending us this Killswitch for the Legion Go S, and I know that they have an even better one for the Switch 2. Which you can install as easy as 1, 2, you get the idea, and in doing so, you get some seriously improved ergonomics on those Joy-Cons. And then you just slap on that travel cover, and now you have the final form of feel and function. Thanks to Dbrand again for sponsoring this video, and now back to some more hot takes. Now, Joe, you were actually saying that this device would have been your pick, and you know what? I think this is actually really good value for it. And anyone who doesn't know, this is, the Panda black and white color for Legion Go S that I got going here. Joe, you're not saying
interject. I need to interject. I think I know what Joe was saying. Joe was saying, get the Legion Go S, play your emulators, pop less scaling, double the frame rate. Let's go.
Emu deck. Yeah. And I have not tried Switch emulation with the Ryzen Z2 Go APU, so I can't speak to performance on that. Is there a way to make it work? I'm inclined to find a way to make it work. So yeah. I mean, you plug it in, you got 40-watt TDP support there, which I just found out the other night, by the way. Really? Funny story, but that's a tangent. Yeah, but yeah. I see. Hey, Game Tech Talk. I don't feel so bad now because I'm talking to Scattered Brain. I'm going, yo, your video, you got 40 on performance. You're not using power tools on the plug-in. What's going on, bro? And he says, got to plug it in. And then, I talk to Gemini and I figure out, got to plug it in to see more than 33. That's the story. Yeah, that's the story. And I felt like such a dunce. I really did.
Shout out to Gemini.
All right. So Joe, I think you've already opened up this doorway for us. What other choices, I'm going to ask you, do Nintendo fans have, in your opinion? This doorway is open for them. Instead of the Legion Go S, like what are their other options? I think there is one staring us in the face, but I don't think Gabe would ever watch this video, and so like I'm not gonna say his name another time.
Are you talking about modern retro handhelds?
Are you suggesting that people buy like 10 Trim UI Smart Bricks? Because I will jump through this screen if that's what you're suggesting.
All the colors. All the colors. We're talking purple. We're talking red. We're talking black. We're talking white.
All right. Well, I mean, there you have. There's Joe's take. Klef. What other options do Nintendo fans have? You suggested the Switch One, so
Switch One. I mean, I said the Switch One. I didn't say it has to be run on the Switch.
There it is.
HX 370. Let's go. It's
wait a minute. That's not $500. Get out of here with that.
I know, but it's still going to be much higher fidelity than the actual Switch.
I don't know. The AOK Zoe with the HX 370, I mean,
see,
we saw a lower price point with a device with that APU, and it has a 1X player experience with it. The GUI similar with the 1X console. So it's, I mean, yeah, you're paying a little bit more, but if you want to take advantage of an HX 370 and you want to throw some emulators on that for some software emulation on a Windows experience, you could do it.
Good point.
All right. Well, now that money has lost all meaning, I do have to ask. Jeeve, what do you think of this idea that Nintendo might increase prices, of the Switch 2 post-launch? Because I think there's been some rumbling, and my tinfoil hat is back there somewhere.
Oh man, it's a travesty, honestly. Personally, I think that it is very likely that we'll come a few quarters from now and we'll see price increases on peripherals, games, and whatnot. As far as the actual console itself going up, I'm actually going to stake my claim in the camp that I actually can see the actual console itself going up. I wouldn't say like the first year after launch, but I'm thinking maybe like we'll give it another about 9 to 12 months, we could see a price increase. And the reason I say that is because the chip that's being manufactured, the T239 that's coming from Samsung, despite reports say it's not a cheap chip to manufacture. Even though it's on an older node, which is like Samsung N8, it's still pretty cutting edge mobile silicon that we have right now. I mean, we don't have, ARM CPUs and an NVIDIA GPU in like a 10-watt envelope. So that is a lot of power to push through such a small chip. It's going to cost money, and that cost is not going to go down. I mean, we've seen the PS5 and Xbox go up in price, and not just because of tariffs, but actually because manufacturing costs on that chip. And that technology is about 5.5, 6 years old now. Talking Zen 2, RDNA 2. So that's kind of my concern, that we're going to see some price increases on this stuff because we're kind of in a technical recession right now. And as these chips get more and more bespoke and advanced, it's going to cost more and more money to make them.
No, that's a great point that you brought up there about, PlayStation and Xbox raising their prices. At least this is what they've stated by the holiday season, right? Klef, what's your take? Are they going to increase prices too? And am I barking up the wrong tree here, giving them ideas?
You've made a pretty compelling argument, which is hard to refute. So I'd like to think that the move with increasing prices with games is for them to try to bring profit back home. Look, Nintendo, they have a hold on the gaming market. There's a lot that they can do and sort of get away with, and people will angry. Everyone will clamor and take out the pitchforks. But at the end of the day, the Switch 2 is still impossible to get right now. So I think, can we just acknowledge that Nintendo is about to break the curse? By the way, just real quick, they're about to break the curse. Switch 1 was a massive success, and Switch 2 will be just as well. So that's going to be 2 consoles in a row to be successful. So will they increase prices? I'd like to believe that they won't, even though we have very compelling arguments that they would. But I also think that the price increases that we've seen on software is not going to be just on select titles. It's going to become across the board, and that's where the money will come from.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Well said. What's your take on this, Joe? other than buying more bricks?
Yeah, it's definitely a concern for this, and the demand is so high, and I think too it's just unfortunate to see scalpers taking advantage of these situations, and I do think that there is a possibility for the price to increase just because the demand. I mean, what people are willing to pay, but because of it being a Nintendo Switch device, but I really want to see the price stay the same. I think the bundle, or the bundaloo, like I like to call it from our South Park reference, I think that's interesting for $4.99 for Mario Kart World with the base edition. So you're paying a little less because you'd have to pay $30 more. So I don't know if what they could do is to try to appease buyers, is they could just say, oh, we have availability of the stock, but you have to buy it with multiple products. So they throw in not just Mario Kart World, but 3 or 4 games together. And then you really don't want 3 of the 4 games, but you're going to get it and you're going to pay more, and you can't return it because
Joe brought a good point, because there's one thing I could see Nintendo do is say, oh, well, now the Switch 2 alone is no longer available. We bundle it with a software and the price is increased, but you also get a software on top of that. I could see Nintendo do.
It's a bundaloo move.
That's a new egg GPU combo there. Oh no. Oh, no.
Like Nintendo Switch 2 with a 5080. Let's go. You know?
Yeah. Nice keyboard, all this crap you don't want with your GPU.
Right. Do you want Peppa Pig for Switch 2? Well, too bad. You're getting it.
Too bad you get it. Do you want it?
Yeah.
And we've seen that too for I remember when Xbox Series S and X released, where you had availability where, the Series S was less than $500, but with Walmart they would bundle so much together it was $800. So you're getting a Series S, you're paying $800, you just want less than $400. And so, but you have to buy, you're getting all the accessories combined with it. So
well, this is a very dark and dystopian future that you've painted for us, Joe. I will say though, it looks very red and mustachioed. So if you're into that, I mean, good for you. Yeah, I think you guys have really phrased it that way and painted it that way for us. So I'm just gonna go and cry into my wallet now. You guys can finish this, right? Yeah. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you like about the Speedcast. Leave us a comment down below, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
And check out the Killswitch.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Please do that.
Peace.
Take care.
Let's go.